Hello, how is everyone doing? I'm using a different live streaming service today because I want to be able to share my screen. So I hope I still get to see your chats. Let me know if you're here. So, two main things I want to talk about today with the moon in Aries that we have. Let me just show you the chart. So, you can see the moon is in Aries. It is up there in the ninth house in Aries. And the first thing I want to talk about today is the fact that it's in between Saturn and Neptune. And the second thing I want to talk about is that it is in a what's called third quarter square to the sun. So this is kind of a conflicting energy today of how we're using our will. If you're here, hi. I'm using a different streaming service. So if you can try sending a chat, I'm not sure. Oh, there you are. Hi, wonderful. Hi, Peach Doors. Nice to see you. Wonderful. I'm so glad I can see your chat because I'm using a different streaming service. Hopefully it's not crazy, but okay. So yes, conflicting energies today because we are in the midst of this Aries situation, which is the dream, Neptune dream that we are building out Saturn, and the moon is right there in the middle of it, at least for the next few hours today, most of the day actually. And that in and of itself says that we are really connected to this really long-term dream that we're building out. But because of the moon phase that we are in, this third quarter moon phase, the weirdness is actually that we need to let go of some sense of self. That last quarter moon phase, if you can see, it goes all the way this way. So we have four separate, parts of a lunar phase. First quarter, full, last quarter, which is what we're in now, and then new. Okay, so the last quarter phase, which is what we are in right now, always says that we have to throw off something. We have to end something. And so what we have to end is where the moon is. And in this case, it's Aries, and it's not just in Aries, but it's right in between the Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries, which means we have to throw off basically the way that we are building out this dream, right? Life is very iterative, right? We have to show up and try. And the thing about the new phase, because if you think about it, the new phase, there is a new phase happening right now between Saturn and Neptune, which means we are right at the beginning of a 36-year-long cycle. But in order for that full illumination to happen of the cycle, which would be the halfway point, that's what, 18 years. So here's here's what I'm trying to get at today. It's a little bit weird because we are right in the middle of the energy that is impelling us forward to create this huge new dream that started in February. And we are recognizing we need to stop doing it in a way. We need to stop doing it the way we have been doing it so far, and we need to start doing it a different way, but not yet. We're going to start doing it in a different way at the new moon in Cancer, which is even just next week. So this is really a week to finish the lap. If you think about it, these dots, these little dots right here is the last quarter of the way the moon needs to go, right? And so that's kind of an expression of like getting to the finish line, recognizing everything you've done from here, recognizing what came up at the Capricorn full moon, and then what's going on now. But it's a little rough. I don't know. It's a little challenging because this identity that we have to throw off with the moon in Aries, it's it's of course ruled by Mars right now. And Mars is in Gemini. So there's two things we have to throw off in our brain. There's two different things that we have to change. We have to change how we perceive duality in a sense, how we act in a dual nature in the world. And then, of course, I'm a broken record with this, but that Mars is ruled by Mercury in Cancer, which is another signature of this time that's basically saying we're still pulling backwards. We're not necessarily charging forwards, but that's the nature of life, right? We iterate in different cycles. It's never a straight line. Okay. So if anyone has any questions so far, let me know. Hopefully, this way that I'm presenting is somewhat helpful. I know the writing is a little messy, but I wanted to stay kind of close to the ground today instead of going way far out into Pluto and everything. Um, I mean, the Saturn Neptune cycle is very far out, but it is very tangible. So I wonder if you even have um, a direct connection for yourself of what started in February at the conjunction and what what you are feeling committed to over the next 18 and 36 years in terms of what is the dream, what is the life that you're building out. And that's kind of a big question. And right now, the moon being right there in the middle of Saturn and Neptune says that our emotional body, our emotional consciousness is right in the middle of the work that we've done between now and February. Because as far as Saturn has gone from Neptune, is kind of as far as we have gone in these last, what, 5, 6 months. Okay. And obviously, Neptune just went retrograde yesterday, or actually, it was just this morning. So we're pulling back even more right now. And this last quarter moon phase is not necessarily the time to start something new, but it's the time to follow impulse, which is Aries, follow impulse to complete complete the cycle. And part of a cycle completion is reflection and and completion for the sake of, if you will. It's not necessarily abandonment, but it's a choice to say, I'm going to start expanding the scope of why I'm doing this because the race is already almost run. And so I'm just going to make it now. So I don't know. I think if you have a last quarter square in your own chart, you might feel this a little bit more directly. It's, from my opinion, one of the most visceral and difficult aspects to have in the chart, a last quarter square. Of course, the moon phase, this is kind of a normal thing we go through once a month. But for example, if you have any of your natal planets in a last quarter square, it's hard because you kind of live an entire life. Um, you make a hard decision. That's what squares are. They're just difficult decisions. And the only reason they're difficult is because they're not supposed to be easy. Like, we're supposed to change. And making a change is like we perceive that as difficult because there is a lot of buildup that came before it. So yeah, weird day, but I wonder if other people feel this way as well. I know that I reconnected to I've tried to abandon this thing that I'm supposed to be doing. Hi, Arcane Tarot, nice to see you. Yeah, I mean, even personally tried to abandon, I think, my Saturn Neptune dream for many, like many different times. There's a weight and a heaviness. I think if it can be abandoned, it's not the right thing to pursue. But I will say it will continue to come back because Aries, all Aries is an impulse, and with the moon being right there again in the middle, like I'm trying to show, it's so messy here. Sorry, but the moon is right there in the middle of Neptune and Saturn, and we are trying to build something. It's basically like we're building sandcastles right now, and the waves keep bringing it back. But we're getting a lot of good experience building a sandcastle, and that is for something. It is for the experience. The new phase of any two planets in a cycle together is about experimenting and trying and using that unfiltered will, which is also an Aries signature on its own, using an unfiltered will to go out and explore and figure out, is this right for me? And if it's not, stop and just keep going and try something else. It's really not until we get to the first quarter sextile, the first 60 degrees, where we start to hone in and choose and study something. And that's actually the sextile that we're seeing between uh, Mars. Mars and Neptune right now, and then of course Uranus and Neptune right now. So it's interesting because the actions that we are taking in Gemini, so you guys writing to me speaking to you, anyone, like I very much so encourage messages right now because that's this Mars in Gemini. And it has to be immediate with all of this Aries stuff. This is no longer, we have nothing in Capricorn right now. Saturn is in the most immediate sign ever. We really have to live by the present moment and follow the impulse. Okay. Um, but yeah, this sextile, as I was saying, sextile is the first phase where you really go in and you hone in and you start to study something. And what that studying prepares you for is the first quarter square, which on this chart would be if we had anything in the sign of Libra right now, right? Let's say to the sun, the first quarter square from Cancer is Libra because things move around the zodiac in that direction, if that makes sense. I wish I could draw on this. Let me see if I can figure that out. But um, let me see if I can figure out drawing on that chart because I think it's much easier. My Saturn Neptune dream has definitely gone under revision this past week. Started laying the groundwork for a project bigger than I am, but that I've attempted, intimidated by it, but I know it's necessary for me. That's pretty exciting. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's good to know that you feel the necessity, but at the same time, it's an impulse. Like I don't know. I don't know if this is true for everyone. I've been even myself recently getting back into human design. I'm no expert. I am a student. But I feel very connected to this. Um, I think I have a very gut. I forgot what the human design terminology is, but I'm a very sacral. I think sacral authority, which is just like an internal yes and internal no. And so I think everyone based on human design has a different setup of what your internal decision maker is. But I can say that in the astrology, great question. May I have ask how long you've studied astrology and what led you to it? Yes, I'll answer that in a moment here. But I think everyone has a different decision making process. And we have to square that with the transits, and all the transits are wanting us to do right now is move from our sacral. Aries is so instinctual, so immediate. And so depending on how that Aries is hitting your own chart, the pressure to take direct action, take instinctual action might feel more or less foreign. So if this feeling of intimidation, right? One step at a time, day by day. The dream is just guiding you through the path itself, not necessarily to get the full outcome concrete right now. Because the interesting thing is in 18 years, the Saturn Neptune opposition will be in Scorpio Taurus. It won't even be in um, Aries Libra. Like Neptune will have left Aries. And so the dream itself will be far more embodied. And so this is really a time to just um, keep us walking, keep us active. Do you connect human design and astrology, or do you look at them? I haven't been in human design enough, honestly, to even know. What I'm saying here is just that I am connecting the archetypal patterns that I'm seeing in the little that I know. I do think that they are inherently connected. From my little understanding, I think human design uses like astrology and I Ching and probably other occult um, frameworks, uh, if that makes sense. I'm definitely not an expert, but okay, to respond to you, Arcane Tarot, may I ask how long you studied astrology and what led you? Yes, so I've been studying for like 6 years. I've been studying I was studying with a teacher for 5 of those. Um, I what led me to it is painting. So before I cared about anything occult, I was a painter. I am still a painter, and I studied that in my undergrad. Um, and the reason I shifted into astrology was because I was in a very academic setting, overly, to me, from my sensibilities at the time, there was a lot of proof that was being asked. Like you had to show your work. You had to show proof. And to me, it was like the proof was in the pudding. We didn't like, there was a lot of superfluous things being talked about. I suppose academia just wasn't for me. And when I found painting, I was very, very empowered. And the deeper I got into painting and the sensuality of painting in particular, like how paint feels when you mix, like I was using oil and acrylic together, which you shouldn't. Like mixing materials together, I had these physical sensations that just gave me so much knowing and emotional understanding and emotional processing. So I knew that the set of language that I had in academia wasn't going to cut it. And so I started studying astrology, honestly, which was a group of friends, other friends who were artists, and we started using the language of astrology to help each other, get to know each other deeper. And astrology was able to help us resolve issues in ways that like our normal language wouldn't. So yeah, I actually got into a grad school at University of School of the Art Institute of Chicago in 2020, and then I quit after my first semester of that MFA program in painting to take astrology a lot more seriously, and that's when I started studying with Ari Moshe, evolutionary astrology with Ari Moshe Wolf, and then I studied with him for just most of the early 2020s. Yeah. So if you have any specific questions on any of that, let me know. But I'm definitely art was first, painting was first, and then astrology was just a language for that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think that's something I've been coming to recently, or it's been coming back to me that astrology is never can never really be the one thing. For a lot of people, who you might think it's one thing, they're actually brilliant teachers, right? Like they're really wonderful at teaching like just, the like pedagogy, right? And then the thing they teach is astrology. Some people are really good at, everyone niches down in a way, you know what I mean? Or comes from a niche. And I think that's true of most of life. So yeah, thank you for asking. Okay, let me see if I can get this chart back up and then I can annotate it. Let me know if you have any specific questions about the astrology right now or anything that I've said, and I can um, go in more specifically. But if not, I'll probably just riff on um, Pluto stuff for a few minutes here. Okay, so let's see. All right. So here's what I was trying to say earlier. Hopefully, it's easier to see now. Here we have the moon in Aries, ruled by Mars and Gemini. Great. What are your general thoughts on the basket this month? I'll get to that. I'll do that right now. Because actually, right, the moon, no, 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 it's great. Not too big. See, the moon is so close to Neptune. Mars is so close to Uranus, right? We have, I would say, Mercury. Hello, Tori Hydra. I'm curious about Pluto for Aquarius. I saw my moon is for Aquarius. Okay, amazing. Yes. So we're going to talk about the basket right now. And as I'm trying to point out, it's actually like a perfect time because we have the moon still so close to Neptune over there, Mars still close to Uranus. I put Mercury still pretty close to Jupiter, even though it's retrograded back. Um, and Jupiter now also activating Pluto in a bigger way. So this is the basket we're talking about. I don't know how I feel about the terminology of a basket. I know that's been thrown out a lot in the astrology world, but I don't know. Let's just go in step by step here. The reason I'm pointing out that the moon is there and Mars is there and Mercury is there is because it's like even more personalized right now. So like we do not have to dig that deep to understand what's going on. Okay, does that make sense? Like moon is our immediate presence. And so you can, if you want to figure out what Neptune is doing in your life right now, like what are you doing right now? Okay, Neptune, which also just went retrograde, is about the unseen, right? Whether that's unseen bacteria and viruses. That was a big topic we talked about yesterday in my live. Um, I'll get into that maybe in a bit, but anything unseen, right? So when I was saying earlier about art and the like the vocabulary for me that wasn't existing in academia that I needed to find through astrology. There was like astrology is the vocabulary of the unseen, if you will, and that unseen is Neptune. Okay, so like it is anything spiritual and unknowable, and it is also everything else. Neptune is literally the boundaryless everything. Okay, so in Aries, it is all within the present moment. It's all within you, right here and right now. So you can ask yourself, what decision have you made in the last like day, or what do you feel you might have been pushed into in the last day, or what is being pushed out of you, that is connected to the unseen, that is connected to how you act on the truth, whether that's confusion or whether that's something like spirituality, God, prayer, right? Okay, and so that's the moon right now. So you can literally even think about being in this live stream if you're live, or you know, yeah. It's such an immediate thing right now. That's why I really encourage people to write questions, because that Mars, which is next to Uranus, is ruling the moon, and that's part of the basket too right now. Okay, so what everything we are acting, every word that we're writing, everything that we are doing, right? Your tedious admin work, Tori Hydra, that is like the Uranus Mars stuff right now, still in Gemini, right? Which is tending to making decisions is a Mars thing. Mars cuts. And so we're making decisions about our online presence with Uranus and Gemini. We're taking action to change our mind, to learn a new language, to like think non-linearly, right? Thinking being the Gemini thing, and then non-linearity being the Uranus thing. And that hopefully is helping us study and grow into the truth of the present moment, and not some big intellectual thing. Like, again, bringing ourselves right back to right here, right now. Like, do you need water? Do you need to go to the bathroom? Like, these are like, what does your body actually immediately want and need right now? And not necessarily your brain. Like, yeah, there's a lot of new beginnings. I'm trying to ground and balance as everything is shifting to root inside movement, so to speak. Yeah, fluid mobility, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is a truth that I think so many of us are having to, like, I know for me, constantly remember, which is that like life is dynamic. This idea that we have to reach goals, stay there, reach again. I mean, I think there are some people maybe who are strong Capricorn, strong Saturn in heavier signs, like, you know, there are parts of life that work for everyone, but this is a particular time for those of us who really do need to lean into that fluid mobility that you're talking about. Like, remain dynamic, right? Remain is a weird word next to dynamic, but maintain movement, right? Because that Mars is really giving us like a direct knowing. Every move we make right now is moving with the truth. And then everything expands because of that. Our hearts expand. We know that the truth is ours when we can feel our joy expand, when we can feel our heart expand. Capricorn moon here, without a goal, I become a puddle. Oh, yeah, Capricorn moons. I always want to give you guys a hug, even more than Cancer moons, honestly. I mean, it's an incredibly powerful signature in terms of it, that like Capricorn is one of my most favorite signs to think about in these days, in this age. Like, Pluto's not there anymore, but it still exists. We still have a skeleton, we still have a framework we need. It's not like Capricorn disappears, but the huge shift I think we're coming out of into this age of Aquarius stuff. I don't even know if I like calling it the age of Aquarius, honestly, but it is this change of humanity. Pluto is changing humanity over the next 20 years, like redefining what it is to be a human. And it just so happens that with the trine to Uranus, the way that our brains are changing, the way that language is changing, whether that's large language models or your own language. Like I was coming into like light language again the other day. I don't necessarily use it, but I'm totally intrigued by the idea of light language, like different like radical languages we've never heard of before, different ways that we can actually use our vocabulary, create a new emotional vocabulary for ourselves. That's an opportunity that we're getting to rewrite what the definition of humanity is, and that's something that is active. We have to do that again and again in every moment because if we're following the old script, then we're playing out the old pattern and it's not going to work anymore anyway. So when you're having to create a goal as a Capricorn moon, I wonder what goals are successful, like what goals actually make you feel nurtured, right? Instead of it just being, oh, I have to have a goal and then I become a puddle, or unless I become a puddle, like, or without a goal, I become a puddle. Like, I don't know, you would be the right person to actually help other people emotionally understand what goals are for, right? Because that's what the world needs right now. We need a new direction with goals. We need a new way to understand what our goals are because right now Saturn is charting this brand new territory that only lives for the moment. It's been exploring a sort of transdisciplinary language expressing through humanity, social science, yeah, yeah, beautiful. I love the shapes we form like pottery. That's so helpful, I think, right now to actually be physically doing things. There's not a lot of the earth stuff in the sky right now. So like physically choosing to do whether it's like a Virgo thing, a Cap or a Taurus thing, creates again a direct knowing for ourselves, right? You don't have to learn from the soil because you feel it. That was why when I started painting before I got into astrology, like it was the direct knowing you get from feeling things and creating things with that Jupiter in Leo as well. Creating from the heart shows you your truth. That's the trine to Neptune. And then the sextile from Neptune to Uranus says we are studying our new vocabulary of the truth. Words fall short a lot of the time, so focusing on ceramics and physical process. Yeah, absolutely. Words definitely are gonna fall short and continue to fall short. That's why I love live streaming. I only started it, but I love interacting with people more. It's like this immediacy with the Mars stuff. I mean, my natal Mars is in Gemini anyway, so this is fun, but, I don't know, there's not a hard goal that you need to meet in every video and have the right setup. I mean, I don't know, that's not how I work. So anything that feels alive from the moment you start to the moment you end, this idea that you put in all this brunt work and then you're going to get something out of it afterwards, that's kind of not how it's happening anymore. And that's directly, we can see this Pluto in Aquarius is going to drag us into the depths of our mind until we realize we're the ones in charge. Like we need to go as deep as possible. Oh my God, I hate live streaming, nerve-wracking as hell, but wow, I continue to do it to push myself. Oh my goodness. Wow, Arcane Tarot, that's so interesting. I would really wonder about pushing yourself to expand because if you're not enjoying it, don't do it. Like do you do you like creating videos like on your own time? Maybe you just should do what you enjoy. That's this um Jupiter in Leo. And then, guys, the sun is still in Cancer. By the way, it's my birthday tomorrow, which I'm so excited about. I'm someone who really loves my birthday. I'm going to be 30. I have audacious the nerves. I love connecting and I love meeting people. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, then just focus on that, focus on, anyway, I don't need to tell you what to do, but I think it's really good to push yourself. And I was talking to my new roommate yesterday about like choosing to shift and do the thing you wouldn't normally do. Yeah, that's so lovely that you do that. Um, Tori Hydra, I that is still available actually if you're interested. The Substack, my goodness, sorry, Substack subscription for half off. Yes, you can just email me or write to me somehow, or I'll write to you. Happy to do that. Thank you. How do I feel about 30? I love it. I love it. I think because my Saturn is in Aries, by the way, moon right now, my Saturn is at 12, so it's like right there. Um, and I really, I really like 30. I think I've been waiting my whole life to be 30 because I finally feel like I can take authority, like I've put in enough time being myself to like to be myself with more oomph. That's how I feel, and I'm very happy about it. And I just always love my birthday. I don't know. My son's in the fifth house, so I've met a lot of people who don't like their birthdays recently, which is kind of funny. Um, but anyway, I love the summer. I love my birthday. Um, yeah, my son's like 17. And that means I have a really strong square. Then the Saturn's coming to square my sun. So anyway, there's a lot of fun stuff going on. But here's another thing I wanted to get across. I wanted to say this earlier, but I didn't say it yet. We are not the chart. I've said this before. We are not actually the chart. We are all of this gray stuff in between the chart. Okay. And so the way that I see it is that we are the consciousness that's like here, here, here. I don't know if anyone watches Adam Allen Boss. He talks about like turning the jewel. And I think the crystalline structure of said jewel is like the geometric patterns of the sky, right? And yet we are whatever the consciousness of the entirety, whatever the entire Neptune thing is. Neptune transcends all of it. Neptune is everything in the chart and everything outside of the chart. Okay. So I'm just putting it out there to say we're not bound. We are really, really not bound by all of this. And I, as my Aries Saturn, also my South Node's in Aries, so I feel very connected to my Aries self, which is impulsive, which is to say, this is a time where you have to do what you want and experience it. Yeah, yeah. You have to go for it. You have to put your hand on this oven, on the hot oven, and then pull it back. And then you're gonna know, you're gonna be able to have a direct experience with the truth. That's what Neptune and Aries wants, having a direct experience with the truth. That's gonna, honestly, making anything right now with Jupiter is about connecting you to the truth, expanding your heart. And then you get that opportunity, it just bings out the truth, right? And that's when we get the sun shining through this gem that I'm saying. And so it doesn't really matter where you locate yourself right now, just give all of your consciousness. Try to imagine, this is what I do. Imagine like diaphragmatic breathing, like fill out your entire body with breath and like that way move that way and just see where it pushes you and where it expands you, and trust whatever decision making you've come to throughout your life so far. Trust yourself. That's where all of this airy stuff right now is. I would venture to say probably because the moon is there that the airy stuff is the most important right now. And then we just have to be talking about it. We need to be like going live, which is a Uranus thing, and talking about it. We need to like be non-linear in how we are taking action on our thoughts right now. And that's how we're going to study the truth. 60-degree sextile is study the truth. In studying the truth, and we're also studying our creation, right? Whatever inspiration pops out of us talking like this, we're going to create something from that. So I know, Peach Stores, you were talking about your new project. Like, yeah, keep it going. Don't hold yourself to any big goal other than to do it. And that might be hard for a Capricorn moon, but okay. When Saturn was in Pisces squaring my sun and Gem, it was such an emo time, really challenging, but important for helping myself be more. Hopefully it's incredibly constructive, right? This is at some point I want to do a whole class on squares because I have a grand cardinal square in my chart. And so I know squares very well. Um, Pisces to Gemini is let's see, last quarter square from Saturn to your sun. And so I wonder if there was something about like, my God, it's so hard. That square from Pisces to Gemini is so hard. It's because it's about like words are really failing at that point, or like, right, like the truth. The more we try to express in words the truth, the more restriction that we might feel. But in fact, I've grown to understand restriction as like the thing that actually compresses us more and more into ourselves. So it's not something to be pushed away from, right? Like it's not something to resist. Like let yourself be smushed. Let yourself be smushed. Just like actually feel the pressure, you know? Makes sense that it's emo. It totally does. Um, because what it wants you to do is get strong enough to stand up and be yourself anyway, you know? I don't know, that's all the Saturn right now wants us to do. And I think that Saturn in Pisces time was really just about like committing to not knowing, committing to the openness. And we have one more month of that that's still in play with the North Node. One more month, really less than a month now, like the 26th, 28th, I think, excuse me, of this month. And another thing I'll say is that Venus on the South Node, we are going back to that same past that Mercury retrograde is doing for us, and that, I would say this last quarter square to the sun is doing for us. Like whatever the self is that we are letting go, it's also something we might have abandoned in the past. Like we might have tried to let something go prematurely in some form. Maybe it needs to be reiterated now, but Venus giving us a direct communication, direct entry point into the Virgo past, which is the way we have prayed, to put it in a very direct way, right? Pisces is the god we pray to, and Virgo is how we pray to that god in everything we do, whether that's how we eat, whether that's how we wake up. And so Venus is coming in there and really reminding us, probably for the last time, what we need to recommit to. I only see the South Node as something you need to go back to, not something you need to let go of. Yeah, it's just a lot of ping ponging right now. So the thing is, like, keep going, shift between, think in a new way. Literally write out your own new vocabulary. Like, don't push intellectually. Go into the body and feel the impulse. Go on the direct impulse, because that's Aries. Write about the impulse. Talk about the impulse to someone else. But talk about it in a way, right? Let's not forget. Talk about it in the Mercury and Cancer way, where you're reviewing and processing your emotions, but not to wallow, right? But to be honest, be emotionally honest. And that's where part of the prayer is from here. Immediately emotionally honest. And I think that's where we can start to realize where we're telling ourselves an old story, and we need to cut through that and choose, because it's still Cancer season. Oh my goodness. Everybody just needs a hug. Okay. Yeah, I really love a square. And so this is really that time where we're saying no to something. We're saying no to something that, like, of who we are. I'm so glad you found this useful, Arcane Tarot. Yeah. Okay. If anyone else has any other questions, let me know. I might pop off in a few minutes, but I wanted to also share, just because I talked a lot about it yesterday, especially given what I said about how I came into astrology through art and creativity, and Neptune going retrograde yesterday was like, we talked so much about health and routine, and like, again, the unseen things in our life that really challenge us, whether that's like a chronic illness that we can't figure out. The things that we can't figure out through any normal means, that's a Neptune thing. And the way to you always work with Neptune is through Saturn. As you look in your chart, what's the relationship between Saturn and Neptune? And then that's going to be the pattern that's basically fractaling out of you in every moment. And that's where your own consciousness pushing everything is going to, like, yeah, that's just the patterns that's going to keep playing out. And until you locate yourself as not the pattern, then you won't be able to change it. And so I wanted to share that my friend and I, Jen of Full Cup Astrology, were doing a webinar on Saturn and Neptune and the phases between Saturn and Neptune in the birth chart, I find it to be one of the most uh, powerful things to know about your own chart because it really is like in the creative process and the creative process and the like mystical process and the boundaries that we live with in earth right now in terms of how we actually are here and we want to grow things. And I felt this so deeply when I was more deeply into my art practice. Like I felt like I didn't have enough boundaries and I hated being an artist because I was so emotionally fraught the whole time. It was like being the starving artist or the emotionally totally messed up artist. Like I hated that. And I didn't want to be an artist because it felt like it was always to do with bad boundaries. And that's where good art came from bad boundaries. And that's a difficult Saturn Neptune conversation, right? Bad boundaries is Neptune, or sorry, well, bad boundaries is it is both a Neptune and a Saturn thing, but Saturn is the remediation for Neptune. Like you heal Saturn, you're gonna heal Neptune. You heal Neptune, you're gonna heal Saturn. Okay, let me read what Tori's saying. I was looking into my chart in the basket, saw 4 of Aquarius as it plugs into minor grand trine between Jupiter and the stellium in Capricorn. I might be missing some. I mean, man, if you said your moon's also at 4 Aquarius, right? Tori, did I read that right earlier? That is such a profound interchange that must be happening. And I think, I imagine it has everything to do with your YouTube channel that I know that you have, um, and your emotional connection to that. Minor grand trine between Jupiter and a stellium in Capricorn. Minor grand trine. I don't know. Oh, okay. Is it like at the beginning of the end of Capricorn? That might be it. Yeah. 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 Well, that's the structure that you're offering people through your YouTube channel with your Capricorn stuff, right? Like the inherent structure that I was trying to get to when Peach Doris said with the Capricorn moon, right? This is the time for people with strong Capricorn and like who know themselves. This is the time for people to show up and show people how real structure exists. Like what is a good skeleton? Like what actually will hold? What is structure when we don't or when we're not working from oppression, when we're not working from like toxic power dynamics? Like what is it to feel the pressure coming into you and hold that? I think the word is capacity. I learned a lot of this from this woman named Yeshuani, who I really, really like. I'll put her name, I don't know, you can just Google it, or I think she's on both Instagram and YouTube. I love the way she talks about capacity and containment. Um, um, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the Neptune podcast, but let me look at what Tori's saying again. Important info, but I'm curious if you have any insight on how to bridge relations or meeting between the current astrology and layers in our chart crosses over my sun, Mars, and Pluto in Scorpio. Um, yeah, bridge meanings between current astrology and layers in our chart. Okay, so like the relationship between the natal chart and the transit chart. I mean, this is where either it's like very helpful to get a reading or you just study on your own because like someone might be getting a trine, like they might have an Aquarius stellium getting a trine to like that or even better, things in Libra right now are completing a grand air trine from let's say Gemini to um, Aquarius, right? And then you're getting a full grand air trine. And that is incredible amount of like social air power. And I always say this, but if you want to tap into that air trine, the grand air trine, watch um uh the Golden movie. What is it? K-pop Demon Hunters. I know that's ridiculous, but that embodies the grand air trine energy in a really, really powerful way. And that might be another way to answer your question about how to bridge the current astrology with your personal chart. Like, what do you enjoy in pop culture right now? Because the current astrology, the way it's going to manifest, especially the outer planets, um, Yeah, the outer planets, like what are you attracted to in the world, whether it's politics or pop culture or even a super niche thing that is just very wide. Like that's gonna step you into how the astrology is hitting the larger groups of people, and then you determine your positioning within the larger groups of people. And then that whatever the emotional dynamics or the interest coming up there, that's going to be what's reflected in the transit chart to your natal chart. And so you don't need to study astrology if you're not interested in it. That's like not the point. But the point is kind of um, starting to pattern recognize like what is most of the world doing, and is that aligned with what you are genuinely interested in doing right now. So like there's a big shift to be online right now, or like AI. Like how do you feel about AI? You want to understand how the transits are hitting your chart. You write a whole paragraph about whether you're pro or against AI, or whatever your in between is, you know what I mean? Like, that's gonna clarify you really, really quick on where you stand to the rest of the world, right? Because that's Pluto and Aquarius, right? And then when you get into the specifics, um, right, are you when AI comes about, what are you thinking about? Like, the large language models, are you thinking about the future of robots? Like, what's gonna come in your mind first? Write it all out, and then just consider that with whatever the pool of information you're getting this from is. And that is how I guess I would say bridging relations or meaning between current astrology and your chart, because you are living your chart, your personality, your preferences. I think I'm not going to give like advice to say like, oh, go study your chart, look at your squares, look at your trines. Like, no, go from your lived experience first, and then pattern recognize, like just everything's a pattern, and your chart is only showing you what your pattern is. The natal chart's showing you what the collective pattern is, and then you see them together, it's how your patterns are merging with each other right now, harmoniously or inharmoniously, and neither is better. I'm not I don't think we're here to like always be in bliss. I think we are here to grow capacity, to know who we are, and to stand up for ourselves, especially in this time. Stand up for our preferences. And some people really like going very, very deep. Some people really like not doing that. And it's fractals, right? The people who don't like going deep might need to go deep, but some people don't need to go deep, right? Some people who really like staying dark might actually need to lighten up, but some people who really like going dark might need to stay dark. Like you really, there's no one way to cut this. You really need to trust yourself, and that's all the chart's going to say. Okay, the AI piece for Pluto and Aquarius is really helpful. It used to be very anti-AI, and there's a lot of nuanced perceptions in 2026 morphing there. Yeah, I'm glad that's helpful. And I mean, listen, if your moon is right there, Tori Hydra, my goodness, like your heart, your inner emotional life, your home is a direct barometer for what's going on with Pluto and Aquarius right now, right? So you don't need to share to the world what your moon is right now, whatever that emotional resolution or the process you're going through. Maybe a few years down the line, after these exact hits finish, you're going to have a wealth of emotional information about. Okay, girl, let me tell you. Yeah, 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 yeah. See what I mean? Yeah, you feel that, and so that's the thing. That's the thing. It's is there, especially the outer planets are much larger cycles going on, and so there's a lot of processing time that's needed. And so, yeah, I mean, writing is for everyone right now with this Mercury retrograde, but honest emotional writing, not the script you've been telling yourself, the honest emotional writing. Okay. Any other questions right now? Let me make sure I got to everything. I mean, yeah, people who have any planets really at 4 degrees of anything are gonna be hit in a great way. And let me also reframe this one more time, which is to say it's not like energies being thrown at you you have to deal with. It's like you are it. You're it. Surprise. Like my moon is 350 Taurus, and so it's getting squared by Pluto. Um, And that's been crazy. I mean, that's been psychologically really, really difficult, but I've already had the first pass, and so, I know the feeling now, and that's why I talk about growing capacity. Because if you're gonna just crumble under the weight of the change, then that's okay too, right? You'll go through that dark night and come right back up. But I think when we watch ourselves walk through difficult times with more resiliency and capacity than we thought, our whole self-concept changes. The whole identity of who we are changes, and that is Pluto and Aquarius. Pluto and Aquarius wants to change who we think we are. We're not goal-oriented humanity anymore. We are moving into an experimental humanity literally next month. North Node enters Aquarius with Pluto. That's the whole direction, is going to be experimentation, experimentation, experimentation. And that's already the point right now. It's just that North Node in Pisces is still pushing us into expansiveness right now. Like, we're still supposed to be dreaming for the next month. Mercury retrograde aligns perfectly to those 3 last weeks. So it's a wacky time. And then, of course, this whole basket that's happening with this over the same time as Mercury retrograde, it's kind of insane. It's kind of crazy, but all it is that we have to start speaking into our new vocabulary, speaking through the new vocabulary, understanding that we don't need to be perfect because we're experimenting, but it's that new way of living. And I think until that North Node, really for this next month, for the rest of July, it's going to be easier and easier to go backwards until the North Node steps into Aquarius. A lot of people, okay, in evolutionary astrology, maybe this will be one of the last things I say. Evolutionary astrology, which is what I study, I have studied. I don't know if it's my super favorite methodology right now, but I will say North Node and Pluto in the same sign, the closer they get, it kind of erases everything else in the chart. When you have North Node and Pluto in the same sign conjunct each other, everything goes that way. You don't consider the South Node, like in a birth chart reading. If someone has a lot of people who have Pluto in, well, actually, any Pluto, like nodes take 18 years to go around, and so there's a very high chance that anybody in any Pluto generation might have a North Node Pluto thing going on. Right, I know a lot of, millennials around my age in the years just before me have Pluto North Node conjunction in Scorpio, and so their whole life is about just complete transformation, complete deep dives, and really walking through hell, because that's what Scorpio is, and that's what Pluto is, and that's what we're all gonna be doing next month, starting next month. But it's like, this is about killing the mind. This is about the total transformation of our Aquarius mind. This research role, right? Tori Hydra. There's something so all consuming about experimentation that we're going to be stepping into. When the North Node meets Pluto, we don't even read the South Node anymore. I mean, we will because Jupiter will be there. But like, if you're looking at a birth chart that has North Node Pluto, you like unless there's something down there on the South Node, everything gets routed through the North. Whereas in a normal chart without Pluto North Node, you always look at the South Node first and how that's building up the North. Okay, just to put the weight of this into context. Okay, so any last questions? If anyone also wants to take advantage, I'm gonna extend this. If you want to subscribe to my Substack for just $5 a month, I can give you half off a full reading. Um, so if you want to do that, is that true for any planet with a North Node? No, that's true for just Pluto on the North Node. In terms of everything being routed through the North Node, that's only Pluto. If they're like, okay, this has been fascinating. Yeah, thank you so much, Tori Hydra, for being here. Um, this is so fun. I love going live. This is so much better. Like, even though I don't even care about my views anymore. Like, I like the interaction. Like, I feel so much more alive, and I think I would wish this for everyone to like step into something where they feel immediately alive all the time. Like, it's definitely scary. But yeah, I that feeling is it, right now. And it's not going to be everyone needs to go live, but it's like whatever it is that makes you feel as happy in the process as you are when it ends. Like I think this whole world of putting in work to achieve a result afterward, that's a lot of lag time we don't need to work with anymore. Okay. All right, my friends. Any last questions, you can pop them in, but I'm so happy to hear from everyone. Oh, I'm so happy it's helped you, Arcane Tarot. I'm happy you were able to make this one. I know you came in late, I don't know, at least once time in the past. This is so sweet. Okay, wonderful. Well, I will let you guys know next time I'm planning to go live, at least a few hours early, hopefully the day before as well. Um, but yeah, check out my Substack if you want. I'll post the Neptune, oh my goodness, the Neptune Saturn workshop again, and that's at the end of this month, like the last Tuesday of the month. Jen is awesome. Full cup astrology. I love hyping her up. Um, I'm glad you're enjoying the live. I only went live once and it was awesome and energy using. So rest up and have it. It's funny because I get energy. This actually, I mean, I might just be very uh, extroverted because I get energy doing this. Um, I like, I feel like I've done what I'm supposed to do. Like when I make videos and then try to edit them and put them up, I feel so drained. There's only been the one video I did that's done really well that like got above 5,000 views. I really tapped into something there that I've never been able to again, and it was a very direct feeling. It was a very direct feeling that I've never been able to to access again. So I'm trying to honor that, and like when I have a story to tell, like I did for that video, that feels like it's going to be as exciting to put together as it is to complete, then I'll do it. But I can't see myself like making weekly videos anymore. It's just it has not been it for me. So I'm really glad that this is connecting with you guys. And yeah, I get energy for it. And it's just to say, do the thing that gives you energy too, right? Be hyper mm, prioritizing of yourself. This is all this Aries stuff we're in right now. Route it through the present moment. Talk about it, right? Gemini, Mars and Gemini right now, Mercury and Cancer. Talk about it with someone you trust. Talk about it honestly, and you feel the words as they're coming out of you, right? The barometer is this something I've said 100 times before? If it is, probably not the most honest thing. Not to blame, not to make you feel bad about it, but just to say, feel it. Is it old? Is it new? Is it right on the edge? We want to be right on the edge, not in a nervous system way where we're unsettled, but in a way where we're feeling alive and contributing correctly for what our balance is. And I really will say, again, I'm not a human design person at all. So don't ask me questions. I mean, I can point you in directions, but um, I look at my human design like once a year, and I always feel very refreshed after it. Somehow it's less intellectual than astrology for me. And so it's a good return. All right. So lovely. Trust yourself. Hopefully, me doing this will make it easier for you to do whatever it is that is the same for you. And that's what I hope and pray for all of us. That's my human design time. I'm a manifesting generator. I think I have sacral authority. That's the like guttural yes, no. As you asked if it was new, my admin task has me scrolling through Outlook commands, and I scrolled into all the options saying new. Yay! Love the coordination confirmations. I love how you use coordination all the time. And like I've seen that in your work, Tori Hydra. Fellow man, Jen. Nice. Yeah. Sometimes I feel silly because it's like most people are man, Jen. And I feel way too unique to be just a man, Jen. But that sounds ridiculous. You're seeing my like I go through phases of feeling like I'm the best in the world, and then that like I don't exist at all. Like I'm a Pisces rising. I don't know if you know Pisces rising people, but I feel like that's a very we don't exist type of energy. But then I have such a strong Saturn Aries South node that like, oh no, I exist. Like I really, really exist. Anyway, so I love Mangen. It's pretty fun. And honestly, reading about the human design helps me to remember like what my natural pattern is. Something I'm going to try probably do today is go and link some astrology to human design because all the work I've been doing in, I don't know if you've seen it, but like chart rulerships, like the core rulerships of your chart. If you like boil everything down by modern rulerships, there's like usually anywhere between 1 and 5 core rulers, whether it's a mutual reception ruler or just like one planet in its home sign. Um, that seems to track somehow to human design for me. And so I'm going to do some stuff looking into that. But in any case, that's something I'll probably go live and walk people through that at some point too, boiling it down. As a projector, I'm just bless you. Oh, projectors. Wow. Yeah, I think I've known like one projector in my life. Really incredible. I need to look up more about the projectors. Um, that's the most rare, right? I'm pretty sure. So anyway, my friends, so good to be with you. I'll keep that half off thing for Substack going. Maybe I'll just hold that through the rest of July anyway. I usually do some promotion for my birthday month. So yeah, join my Substack, $5 a month, and then I'll give you half off a reading if you want. Um, so yeah, reach out, stay alive, everybody, in whatever way that is for you. All right, my friends. Bye bye for now.